The treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma, Da Mo Shi Mai Lun, is one of the classic texts of Chinese Zen, Chan, Buddhism, traditionally attributed to the first patriarch, Bodhidharma. This work offers a profound summary of Bodhidharma's key teachings, focusing on the core of Zen and its approach to practice. Here is an in-depth look at the main ideas in the treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma. 1. Directly pointing to the mind and seeing one's true nature to attain Buddhahood. One of the central ideas Bodhidharma presents in the treatise is directly pointing to the mind and seeing one's true nature to attain Buddhahood. This phrase can be seen as a foundational guide to Zen practice. Directly pointing to the mind means not relying on external teachings or words, but directly focusing on the Buddha nature within. Practitioners are encouraged to observe their own mind, turning attention inward to witness its true essence. This essence is Buddha nature, and seeing one's nature is to recognize that the mind inherently possesses Buddha nature, which is the state of enlightenment. Bodhidharma emphasizes that the essence of the Dharma is not about external knowledge or behavior, but rather the result of inner awakening. Only by seeing one's true nature can one reach the state of Buddhahood. 2. The principles of no thinking, no form, and no abiding. In guiding Zen practitioners, the treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma introduces the principles of no thinking, no form, and no abiding, each of which addresses a different aspect of inner practice and is central to Bodhidharma's Zen. Specifically, no thinking. No thinking means being free from attachment to thoughts and not allowing the mind to be swayed by external phenomena or troubled by distractions. In Zen practice, mental distractions and emotions often become obstacles, and no thinking directs practitioners to let go of these attachments and maintain a clear, natural mental state. No thinking does not mean stopping all thought, but rather achieving a state of clarity where thoughts are present without attachment. No form. No form refers to the transcendence of all appearances, the ability to look beyond all worldly forms and illusions. Bodhidharma argues that the phenomena of the world are fundamentally empty, and practitioners should transcend external forms, achieving a true state of no form. This practice does not deny the existence of the world, but aims to recognize the essence of things through direct experience. No abiding. No abiding is a state of liberation, where the mind is free from clinging to anything external or remaining attached to any specific state. In practice, no abiding represents a state of mental freedom and liberation, ultimately reaching the unimpeded state of generating the mind without abiding in anything. These three principles, no thinking, no form, and no abiding, are deeply interconnected. Through practicing them, Zen practitioners gradually free themselves from attachment to the world, achieving spiritual liberation and enlightenment. 3. The mind is the Buddha. Bodhidharma's statement, "The mind is the Buddha," is another significant concept in the treatise, one that had a profound impact on the development of Zen. He believed that everyone innately possesses Buddha nature, meaning that the goal of spiritual practice is not to seek Dharma outside of oneself or rely on others for salvation, but rather to turn inward and discover this nature. Here, mind refers to true mind or original mind, an untainted, innate Buddha nature. Bodhidharma argues that this inherent state of enlightenment does not depend on forms, scriptures, rituals, or even the guidance of others. Buddha nature is inherent and universally shared, and the heart of Zen practice is to purify one's mind continuously and return to one's original nature, thereby reaching enlightenment. This enlightenment is not just an intellectual understanding, but a state that transcends life and death, granting liberation. 4. Beyond words and texts. Another key idea Bodhidharma proposes is not relying on words and texts, which differentiates Zen from other schools of Buddhism. Traditionally, Buddhism conveys the teachings of the Dharma through words and scriptures, but Bodhidharma argues that words are fundamentally limited in expressing the true essence of Dharma. Instead, he advocates that the Dharma should not rely on language, but rather be comprehended through direct experience. Not relying on words and texts is not a rejection of language, but a reminder to practitioners not to become attached to the superficial meaning of words and to instead focus on the internal experience and the process of true enlightenment. This approach requires Zen practitioners to transcend words and directly experience the Dharma through the teacher-student relationship and individual realization, which is why Zen often transmits teachings through methods beyond words, such as the famous flower sermon, the Buddha silently holding up a flower. 5. Practicing beyond appearances. Bodhidharma emphasizes the need for practicing beyond appearances in the treatise, meaning that practice should not depend on ritual or external appearances, but should focus on cultivating the inner mind. Practicing beyond appearances involves letting go of attachment to material forms and images, abandoning all delusions and biases, and returning to a state of pure mind. In practice, excessive attachment to specific methods or forms may obstruct the view of one's original nature, hindering genuine enlightenment. Therefore, Bodhidharma points out that true practice transcends forms, reaching the Buddha nature through a deep, inner experience of the mind. 6. Transmission and bloodline. The word bloodline in the treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma symbolizes the transmission of Zen teachings. In Zen, the lineage of teacher-to-disciple transmission is of paramount importance, and this transmission is called the mind seal, or Dharma bloodline, which is the transmission of the heart-mind of enlightenment. Bodhidharma believed that the true transmission of Zen lies not in rituals or the recitation of scriptures, but rather in direct mind-to-mind transmission, where the teacher acknowledges the disciple's enlightenment. The transmission process is not bound to formalities, but is a spiritual exchange and the passing of enlightenment from one generation to the next. Transmission of the bloodline in Zen involves more than just passing on knowledge. It is a spiritual communication that emphasizes the direct, heart-to-heart transmission between those who are awakened. Bodhidharma's view on transmission through the bloodline underscores the importance of mind seal transmission, which is fundamental to Zen's unique approach to Dharma continuity. 7. Conclusion. In summary, the treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma is a profound statement on the essential teachings of Zen, in which Bodhidharma elucidates the core methods of Zen practice in clear and direct language. Through ideas like directly pointing to the mind and seeing one's true nature to attain Buddhahood, no thinking, no form, no abiding, and the mind is the Buddha, Bodhidharma reveals that Zen practice centers on turning inward to discover the inherent Buddha nature. The ideas of not relying on words and texts and practicing beyond appearances emphasize that the Dharma transcends words and forms, and it is a matter of realization within. The transmission of the bloodline, meanwhile, is essential to Zen's approach to maintaining the lineage of enlightenment, continuing through the heart-to-heart transmission of the mind seal. Bodhidharma's ideas form the foundation of Zen's unique approach to practice, marking a shift away from dependence on words and forms toward a practice that emphasizes inner experience and personal awakening. The treatise on the bloodline of the Dharma not only stands as a critical text in Zen Buddhism, but also serves as a beacon for the development of Buddhist thought, embodying the direct and minimalist spirit of Zen. Thank you for watching. Please click the like button if this is useful to you.